Tonight, a baby is being born in a warm hospital room. Heated, clean, doctors ready. Now erase all of that. 30,000 years ago. Prehistoric Europe, minus 30 degrees outside. A shelter made of animal bones and hide, and inside, a baby has just been born. It cannot walk. Cannot regulate its own temperature. Cannot survive a single hour alone in that cold. And the clock is already running. What happened next explains something about human civilization that most history books completely miss. A newborn horse walks within hours of birth. A newborn chimpanzee grips its mother's fur from the very first minute. A newborn human cannot hold up its own head. This is not bad design. It is a trade-off. The human brain is so large that if it finished growing before birth, it would never fit through the birth canal. So evolution made a deal. Babies are born with brains at only 25% of adult size. Chimpanzees are born at 40%. That remaining 75% develops outside the womb. While the baby is completely defenseless, every other primate paid for brain size with a longer pregnancy. Humans paid with something far more expensive, a baby that could not survive alone. And in winter, that vulnerability became a death sentence. But not for the reason you think. Cold kills adults slowly. It kills newborns fast. A newborn baby cannot regulate its own body temperature at all. For the first several weeks of life, whatever temperature surrounds the baby, that becomes the baby's temperature. And because a newborn's body surface area is enormous relative to its size, it loses heat roughly 4 times faster than an adult in identical conditions. Researchers studying Ice Age climate data found that winter temperatures on the Eurasian regularly dropped below minus 30 Celsius. An unprepared adult would be in serious trouble within hours. An unprotected newborn would be in danger within minutes. Which means the moment a winter baby arrived, the tribe had one immediate problem: heat. Now, the obvious answer was fire, and fire helped. But fire has one weakness that changed everything. It goes out. So ancient humans used something more reliable: each other. Skin-to-skin contact between a caregiver and a newborn is one of the most effective warming systems ever documented. When a baby is held against a human body, its temperature stabilizes within minutes. Heart rate drops. Breathing steadies. Modern hospitals call this kangaroo care. They use it for premature infants. It works because it has always worked. Ancient humans did not have a name for it. They just noticed that a baby held close did not die. But holding a baby creates a second problem immediately. A mother who just gave birth in a prehistoric winter is exhausted, bleeding, and already running low on food. Her milk supply depends directly on her own nutrition. Researchers studying breastfeeding under stress found that malnutrition can reduce milk production significantly within days. In a winter where food was already scarce, the baby's food supply was fragile. So here is the question that reshapes the entire story. Who else was keeping this baby warm? Who else was feeding it? The answer is not what you expect. Before the answer, one more problem. Ancient humans did not stay in one place. Even in winter, tribes moved, fires needed fuel, animals moved, and hunters followed them. Danger arrived without warning. When the tribe moved, everything moved, including a baby that could not walk, could not hold on, and could not make itself easier to carry. A 10,000-year-old burial site in Italy revealed the remains of an infant buried with what archaeologists believe was a structured baby carrier. Straps and supports designed to hold a newborn against a human body while leaving both hands free. The first personal object ever found buried with a child was not a toy, not a weapon, not food. It was a device to keep a baby attached to a human body while the world kept moving. But one adult carrying one baby still left the problem unsolved. That adult also needed to carry food, water, and weapons. And in deep winter, one pair of hands was never going to be enough. So who else was carrying this baby? In 2009, anthropologist Sarah Blaffer-Hrdy published research that reframed human evolution entirely. Her finding was simple. Humans are not like other great apes. A chimpanzee mother raises her offspring almost entirely alone for 5 years. If anyone touches that infant, she attacks. Humans do the opposite. Hrdy called it cooperative breeding. Among the Effie foragers of the Congo, researchers observed that a baby is held by an average of 14 different people in a single 8-hour period. The mother holds the baby 40% of the time. The other 60%, the child is in someone else's arms. Aunts, older siblings, unrelated women. In a prehistoric winter, this was not affection. It was an engineering solution. 14 bodies rotating. When one person slept, another held the baby. When the mother needed to eat, someone else provided warmth. The work of keeping one small creature alive was distributed across the whole group. But this system had a weakness. It could break. Between 40 and 50% of children born in the Paleolithic did not reach their 5th birthday. That number needs to sit for a moment. Nearly half. When a baby got sick, there was no medicine. When it could not feed, there was no formula. When cold found its way through every layer of hide and every warm body, there was nothing left to do but hold tighter. The hardest situation, the mother dies. Childbirth killed roughly 1 in 3 women throughout most of human history. A winter birth was among the most dangerous. If the mother did not survive, her newborn had hours. But ancient tribes had a solution archaeology is only now beginning to understand. Other nursing mothers fed the baby. Shared breastfeeding, multiple women nursing each other's infants, was documented across dozens of ancient cultures studied by researchers. An orphaned baby was not automatically a dead baby. It was a baby that now belonged to everyone. And the person most responsible for making that system work was almost never a young mother. It was someone older. Most female animals die shortly after they stop being able to reproduce. Biologically, there is no reason to keep a body running once it cannot pass on genes. But human women live for decades after menopause. For years, scientists could not explain this. It seemed to break the rules of natural selection. In 1997, anthropologist Kristen Hawkes at the University of Utah studied the Hadza people of Tanzania, one of the last hunter-gatherer groups on Earth. What she found was unexpected. Postmenopausal women were the hardest working members of the group, spending hours digging tough tubers in extreme heat, collecting foods young children could not obtain, feeding grandchildren directly. The data was measurable. Tribes with active grandmothers had significantly higher child survival rates, which meant the genes producing longer female lifespans spread through the population generation after generation. Hawkes called it the grandmother hypothesis. Human women outlive their fertility because grandmothers who helped raise grandchildren passed on more of their genes than grandmothers who did not. Your grandmother's long life is not biological coincidence. It is a 30,000-year-old survival strategy. Now look at everything that had to exist before that winter baby survived its first night. A shelter that held heat. A fire someone maintained through darkness. A carrier that kept the baby attached to a moving body. Other women ready to feed an infant that was not theirs. A grandmother who knew which plants survived under snow. A group of people who understood that this child's survival was everyone's problem. None of this is instinct. All of it is organized behavior. And organized behavior requires something specific: communication. Researchers studying the evolution of language noted that some of the most complex early communication needs centered on infant care. Who holds the baby? When to move? What the baby's sounds mean? What worked last winter? And beyond language, cooperation. The willingness to spend energy keeping someone else's child alive. To wake in the night for an infant that shares none of your genes. To share food when food is already scarce. Then trust. The understanding that the person beside you will do the same for your child. The most helpless creature evolution ever produced forced the most socially complex behaviors evolution ever produced. Helpless babies did not just survive civilization. They may have created it. Tonight, a baby is born in a warm hospital room. That baby will never know what it cost to get there. 30,000 winters survived. 30,000 years of grandmothers who stayed close. 30,000 years of tribes passing a newborn from one pair of arms to another through the coldest nights in human history. Every cooperative instinct you have. Every impulse to help someone you do not know. Every time you shared something when you did not have to. That was not taught to you. It was built into you, in the cold, by people who understood one thing before civilization existed to tell them. Some things cannot be done alone. The winter baby survived. You are the proof.